When life hits you hardest, most people react. They panic. They complain. They blame the world for what's happening. But Napoleon Hill taught something that separates the great from the average, something that turns chaos into clarity. He said, "Your reaction to adversity defines your destiny. When everything around you is falling apart, the power is not in what's happening. The power is in how you respond. Before you react, there's one thing you must do. One decision that can turn your darkest moment into your greatest turning point. Because every successful person, from the richest minds to the strongest leaders, mastered this one mental pause, the moment where emotion ends and power begins. This isn't just motivation. This is the formula that saved countless dreamers from destruction. So before you react, listen carefully. This is what Napoleon Hill wanted you to do when life gets hard. When life hits you hard, it never sends a warning. It strikes in silence, through loss, failure, disappointment, or betrayal. One moment you feel in control, and the next, everything changes. Your mind races, your emotions surge, and your natural instinct is to react immediately, to fight, to argue, to complain, or to escape. But this is exactly the moment where Napoleon Hill said most people lose the battle, not because of the event itself, but because of how they respond to it. The moment of impact is where 98% of people lose their power. They let emotion become the master, and logic, discipline, and purpose vanish. Hill believed that the first few seconds after a problem appears determine whether you grow stronger or weaker from it. It's not the event that shapes your destiny. It's your immediate reaction. He often said, "Your reaction to adversity is the true measure of your character." And when you understand this, you begin to see that every difficult moment in life is a test, not of your intelligence, but of your control. The average person reacts emotionally. The successful person pauses. That pause is not weakness. It's strength in its purest form. Because it means you are controlling yourself instead of being controlled by circumstance. Think of it this way. Life will always bring storms. You can't stop the wind or the waves, but you can decide whether you let them toss you around or use them to sail forward. The key difference lies in that single pause, the space between what happens and what you choose to do next. In that space, you either lose your composure or gain your clarity. Hill's philosophy teaches that the power to pause is the foundation of success. When the mind is in chaos, it cannot think, plan, or create. Reaction clouds reason. The emotional mind says, "This is the end." The disciplined mind says, "This is a beginning." If you want to rise above circumstances, you must first rise above impulse. In the moment of impact, your emotions are like wild horses, powerful but untamed. If you try to suppress them, they fight harder. But if you observe them, they begin to calm down. This is why Hill advised developing the habit of deliberate calm. Before you speak, before you decide, before you act, wait. Take a breath. Count to 10 if you must. This tiny act of restraint builds mental strength greater than any outburst ever could. Every reaction you make builds a habit. When you react out of anger, you train your brain to seek chaos. When you pause and respond with understanding, you train your brain to seek clarity. That's why strong people appear calm under pressure, not because they don't feel pain, but because they've mastered the art of stillness in the storm. Hill often emphasized that no great leader ever made decisions in emotional turmoil. Whether it was a business failure, financial loss, or betrayal, they all learned to observe first, act later. This moment of stillness allows the mind to see opportunity where others only see disaster. The problem is never the problem. The reaction is. And here's the truth few realize. Reacting instantly gives control to the situation. Pausing gives control back to you. That pause might only last a few seconds, but within it lies the difference between regret and wisdom, failure and growth. So when life hits you with pain, failure, or disappointment, remember, your emotions are only temporary visitors. They come to test your strength, not define it. If you meet them with panic, they grow stronger. If you meet them with patience, they fade, leaving behind only lessons. Napoleon Hill's entire philosophy of success rests on mastering this first step, control over self. Before you can direct your thoughts toward success, you must first stop letting circumstances dictate your thoughts. The moment of impact isn't a curse. It's a mirror showing you how much control you truly have over yourself. Because in that moment, when the world expects you to react, and you don't, you've already won half the battle. Napoleon. Hill's greatest discovery was that every human being possesses the ability to direct their thoughts, and that this single power determines every outcome in life. He called it the power of controlled thought. According to Hill, thought is the starting point of all creation. Every success, every fortune, every invention began as a single idea held firmly in the mind. But the same principle works in reverse. Uncontrolled, negative thinking can destroy what discipline and effort have built. That is why mastering your thoughts isn't just a habit. It's the foundation of achievement. When life challenges you, your first reaction is often emotional. Anger, fear, doubt, and frustration flood the mind. These emotions are not the enemy, they are signals. But if you allow them to control your thoughts, they transform into mental weeds that choke your creativity and cloud your judgment. Hill compared this to planting a garden. If you neglect it, weeds grow automatically. You don't have to invite them. In the same way, if you neglect to guard your mind, negative thoughts take root effortlessly. Controlled thought is the conscious act of choosing what you allow to grow in your mental garden. It means understanding that your mind is fertile soil, and whatever seed you plant, positive or negative, will eventually bear fruit. This is why Hill warned, you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, because you are the one deciding what thoughts dominate your inner world. When you respond emotionally to hardship, your energy scatters. The mind becomes reactive instead of creative. But when you pause, breathe, and deliberately choose your thoughts, you regain control. You begin to command your mind instead of obeying your feelings. Controlled thought doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means directing it. Every feeling can be converted into fuel when properly guided by purpose. Fear can become alertness. Anger can become determination, and sadness can become reflection. Hill believed that thought, when combined with faith, becomes an irresistible force. Faith is not blind optimism. It is a disciplined mental attitude, a conviction that your thoughts have power and that your future responds to them. When your mind is dominated by fear, life reflects chaos. When it's filled with purpose and gratitude, life begins to mirror that energy. This is not magic. It's mental law. The subconscious mind absorbs whatever you continually think about, and eventually it expresses those thoughts through action, decision, and habit. Controlled thought means choosing your mental focus even when your environment is unstable. It's easy to think clearly when things are going well. The real test is when you face uncertainty. In those moments, your mind wants to dwell on the worst possibilities. But that's when you must consciously redirect your attention towards solutions. Hill often said that every adversity carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Controlled thought is how you find that seed. You can't see opportunity through the lens of panic. You can only see it through calm awareness. The habit of controlling your thoughts begins with awareness. Observe what you think about most. Notice how your mind reacts to discomfort. If you constantly repeat thoughts of fear, failure, and self-doubt, you are programming your mind to expect defeat. If you deliberately replace them with thoughts of power, gratitude, and confidence, you are programming yourself for victory. It takes repetition and discipline, but this process slowly transforms the subconscious mind into an ally instead of an obstacle. Hill emphasized that your mind cannot hold two opposing thoughts at the same time. You cannot think of success and failure simultaneously. One must dominate the other. Controlled thought means consciously choosing which one will win. Every time you choose focus over fear, patience over frustration, or purpose over doubt, you strengthen your mental control. Over time, this discipline becomes automatic. Your mind begins to respond intelligently rather than emotionally. The greatest achievers in history, the inventors, leaders, and visionaries all developed this same ability. They trained their minds to remain steady when others collapsed under pressure. They understood that reacting emotionally only multiplies confusion, but controlled thought produces clarity. Clarity leads to direction, and direction leads to power. Controlled thought is not just about positive thinking. It's about intentional thinking. It's the act of using your mind as a tool, not a trap. When you learn to direct your thoughts, you begin to direct your destiny. Every calm response, every thoughtful decision, every moment of patience builds unseen strength within you. This is the mental armor that protects your purpose from the chaos of life. Napoleon Hill's message is simple but profound. Whatever controls your thoughts controls your life. Choose deliberately. Think with purpose. Guard your mind as if it were gold, because it is. Napoleon Hill taught one of the most transformative principles in all of personal development, that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. This idea, simple yet profound, has changed the lives of millions. It means that no matter how painful or unfair a situation may seem, hidden within it is an opportunity waiting to be discovered. The difference between those who rise and those who fall lies in whether they search for that seed or surrender to the suffering. Pain is not the enemy, it is a messenger. It arrives to expose what must be strengthened, what must be released, and what must be learned. Most people allow pain to defeat them because they resist it. They dwell on what they lost instead of what they can gain. But Hill insisted that success-minded individuals think differently. They do not ask, "Why me?" They ask, "What can I learn from this?" That one question changes everything because it transforms pain from punishment into instruction. Every hardship carries two paths: reaction or reflection. Reaction deepens the wound. Reflection reveals the lesson. When you reflect, you begin to see patterns, repeated failures that point to a skill you must develop, relationships that teach you boundaries, delays that teach you patience, rejection that strengthens your resilience. The pain itself becomes your greatest teacher when you stop resisting it and start listening to it. Hill believed that life's greatest breakthroughs are born in moments of suffering. He often reminded readers that his philosophy of success was not built in comfort but in adversity. The principles of Think and Grow Rich emerged after years of struggle, disappointment, and observation of those who succeeded despite impossible odds. He understood that hardship is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to prepare you. The people who achieve greatness are not those who avoid pain, but those who use it. Turning pain into power begins with changing your interpretation. Pain feels personal, but it is universal. Everyone faces loss, betrayal, and defeat. What separates individuals is the meaning they assign to their experiences. If you see pain as the end, it becomes a cage. If you see it as a lesson, it becomes a key. That choice of interpretation determines whether you remain a victim or become a visionary. Hill urged his readers to turn every negative emotion into constructive energy. Anger can become fuel for action. Disappointment can spark determination. Fear can become focus. Every emotion contains power. The key is direction. When you channel your emotions toward purpose instead of self-pity, they become instruments of progress. The greatest human strength lies in converting suffering into strategy. Pain also builds perspective. It teaches empathy, humility, and gratitude, qualities essential for lasting success. Without pain, people grow arrogant and disconnected from reality. With pain, they develop compassion and depth. Hill believed that struggle refines character, and only refined character can handle great power and responsibility. The person who has suffered wisely becomes unshakable because they have already faced what others fear most. The process of transforming pain into power requires faith, not blind belief, but faith in the principle of growth, the conviction that no experience is wasted if you extract its wisdom. Hill emphasized that the subconscious mind is always listening. When you respond to adversity with thoughts of strength, your mind begins to search for solutions instead of reasons to quit. You start noticing opportunities that were invisible in despair. That shift in awareness is how transformation begins. Pain becomes power when it activates purpose. Many people find their life's mission only after hitting rock bottom. Failure forces introspection, and introspection reveals what truly matters. Hill taught that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a vital part of it. Every setback contains data, information about what doesn't work and clues about what will. The wise individual collects these clues, adjusts, and continues forward with more clarity than before. Turning pain into power also requires patience. Growth is rarely immediate. The seed of benefit within adversity takes time to bloom. Hill often said that nature does not rush the process of creation, and neither should you. Trust that every delay, every rejection, every heartbreak is shaping you for something greater, a higher purpose that can only emerge through endurance. Ultimately, the power to transform pain lies within your mind. You cannot control what happens, but you can always control what it means to you. When you decide that every difficulty serves you, every obstacle strengthens you, and every loss redirects you, you reclaim authority over your life. Pain becomes your partner in progress instead of your prison. Napoleon Hill's philosophy is clear. No pain is wasted unless you waste the lesson. Every struggle is a disguised opportunity, and every challenge is an invitation to evolve. Once you begin to see pain as preparation, you stop asking for an easier life and start building a stronger mind. That is how you turn pain into power, not by escaping it, but by extracting its purpose. Napoleon Hill taught that success is not a momentary act of luck or chance. It is a trained response built through discipline, repetition, and mental conditioning. The way you respond to life's challenges determines the direction of your life. Most people let their reactions be dictated by emotion, but the successful person builds what Hill called a success response, a state of automatic calm, clarity, and confidence under pressure. This ability is not something you are born with. It is something you build through conscious effort. Building the success response begins with mental preparation. Hill often said that the mind must be trained daily, just as the body is trained through exercise. The first step is awareness, to recognize how you normally react when things go wrong. Do you panic? Do you complain? Do you freeze? Once you identify your pattern, you can begin to replace it with a new one. Awareness breaks the old habit. Repetition builds the new one. Every time life tests you, you are given a choice: react impulsively or respond intelligently. Each time you choose the latter, you strengthen your mental muscle. Hill believed that success comes from mastering this inner training. He wrote that self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you do not control your thoughts, you cannot control your actions. The success response, therefore, is the product of a disciplined mind, one that refuses to be ruled by emotion, fear, or circumstance. Visualization plays a crucial role in developing this response. Hill encouraged the daily practice of seeing yourself handle challenges with confidence and control. When you mentally rehearse composure, your subconscious begins to accept it as your natural state. Then, when adversity appears, your mind automatically shifts into that calm mode. It's not pretending, and it's programming. The brain cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined event and a real one, so the more you visualize strength, the more naturally it becomes your default reaction. Affirmations are another key tool. Hill was a strong believer in the power of spoken thought. He taught that repeating powerful statements such as, "I remain calm and confident in all situations," or "every challenge strengthens me," helps rewire the subconscious mind. The words you repeat become beliefs. The beliefs you hold become behavior. When adversity strikes, these affirmations act like mental armor, protecting you from fear and doubt. Building the success response also means training your body to follow your mind. Hill often pointed out that the physical state affects the mental state. When you breathe deeply, sit upright, and maintain stillness, you send a signal of control to your brain. This physical calmness supports mental clarity. Success is not just psychological. It is physiological. Your posture, your breath, and your composure become tools of mental mastery. Hill's philosophy also emphasized the power of environment in shaping response. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, and the thoughts you entertain all influence how your mind reacts to stress. If you constantly feed your mind with negativity and gossip, your reactions will mirror that chaos. But if you fill your mind with wisdom, inspiration, and discipline, your reactions will begin to reflect that stability. Building the success response requires protecting your mental environment as fiercely as you protect your goals. Another pillar of this training is self-control in small things. You cannot remain calm during major adversity if you lose control over minor inconveniences. The person who reacts with irritation to traffic or criticism will crumble under serious pressure. Hill advised practicing composure in everyday moments, waiting patiently, speaking thoughtfully, and staying silent when tempted to argue. These small acts of discipline accumulate, shaping a powerful inner calm that becomes your natural state. The success response is also built through reflection. After every challenge, review how you responded. Did you stay composed or did emotion take over? What triggered you, and what can you learn from it? This self-observation turns experience into growth. Each reflection strengthens your awareness and prepares you for greater challenges ahead. Hill believed that successful people never waste an experience. They extract value from every situation, especially from their own mistakes. Patience is another core quality of the success response. Hill often said that impatience is the enemy of success because it clouds judgment and invites error. When you learn to delay reaction and allow time for reflection, you give wisdom space to speak. This practice of restraint is one of the most powerful mental tools you can develop. It prevents impulsive decisions and replaces emotional volatility with steady confidence. Ultimately, building the success response is about consistency. You cannot change your reactions overnight, but daily repetition rewires your mind. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you strengthen your control. Every time you visualize calmness, you prepare yourself for real-life storms. Every affirmation you repeat ingrains a new belief that supports your stability. This is how mental resilience becomes automatic, not through one grand effort, but through countless small victories over self. Napoleon Hill's message is timeless. Success belongs to those who train their minds to stay calm, focused, and unshaken by adversity. When your reactions align with your purpose, no circumstance can defeat you. The world may throw chaos your way, but your inner discipline turns it into order. The success response is not just a skill. It is a way of being. It is the quiet power of mastery over self, built one calm decision at a time. Napoleon Hill believed that life is not a series of random events, but a carefully designed training ground for personal mastery. Every challenge, obstacle, and setback that appears in your path arrives with purpose, to test, strengthen, and prepare you for the next stage of growth. The Hill Challenge is the conscious decision to treat every hardship as an opportunity to practice mastery over self. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond intelligently. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you ask, "What skill is this moment trying to teach me?" That shift in mindset transforms pain into progress and adversity into advancement. Hill often said that success is never the result of what happens to you, but how you handle what happens within you. The Hill Challenge is built on this very foundation. Control your inner world, and the outer world will eventually align with it. This means that every time you face difficulty, you are given a new opportunity to apply everything you've learned: self-control, patience, discipline, and faith. Life will keep repeating the same lessons until you pass them. Once you master your reaction, the situation no longer has power over you. The Hill Challenge begins with awareness. When you feel anger, fear, or frustration rising, pause and remind yourself that this is a test, a moment designed to strengthen your response. Hill wrote that every adversity carries within it the seed of an equivalent advantage. The challenge is to find that seed while others are too distracted by pain to notice it. Most people give up at the first sign of discomfort, but those who accept the Hill Challenge know that discomfort is the doorway to power. Each time you endure difficulty with calm and faith, you build mental endurance, the same way a muscle grows stronger after resistance. This challenge also requires what Hill called definiteness of purpose. Without a clear goal, the mind wanders and challenges feel meaningless. But when your purpose is defined, whether it's building a business, developing character, or achieving financial freedom, every obstacle becomes a stepping stone toward that purpose. You begin to see failure not as punishment, but as feedback, as nature's way of refining your path. The person who holds a definite purpose cannot be defeated for long, because they always extract meaning from difficulty. The Hill Challenge also involves the mastery of thought. When adversity appears, your mind instantly produces negative interpretations: fear, doubt, worry. Hill's philosophy demands that you replace those thoughts consciously with their positive opposites. Instead of saying, "This is too hard," say, "This is making me stronger." Instead of, "I can't handle this," affirm, "I am learning to handle anything." These mental substitutions may seem simple, but over time, they rewire the subconscious mind to seek solutions instead of surrender. You become the master of your mental environment. Faith is another crucial part of this challenge. Hill emphasized that faith is a state of mind that can be created by repetition of positive thought. It is not blind hope, but a disciplined certainty that every experience contributes to your growth. The Hill Challenge teaches that faith is not tested in comfort. It is proven in difficulty. The stronger your faith in yourself and in your purpose, the faster you convert obstacles into opportunities. You stop waiting for external proof and start creating internal conviction. Persistence is the final ingredient. Hill often reminded readers that most people give up just before success appears. The Hill Challenge demands consistency even when progress seems invisible. Every time you choose persistence over frustration, you strengthen your belief in your own power. The person who keeps moving forward, no matter how slow the pace, eventually turns adversity into achievement. Persistence transforms temporary defeat into permanent victory. To live by the Hill Challenge is to embrace the mindset of the master. It means you stop expecting life to be easy and start using life to become strong. You no longer react impulsively or emotionally. You respond with intention and intelligence. You no longer see failure as final. You see it as formative. You no longer seek comfort. You seek growth. Hill's philosophy is not about avoiding struggle. It's about mastering it. The Hill Challenge invites you to become the kind of person who remains calm in chaos, hopeful in hardship, and determined in defeat. It asks you to meet every difficulty with the words, "This is my training ground." Because that is what life truly is, a constant opportunity to prove your strength, refine your thoughts, and evolve into the best version of yourself. Those who accept this challenge rise above ordinary living. They stop being controlled by circumstances and start directing them. They realize that the real victory is not in what they achieve, but in who they become through the process. Every time you conquer yourself, you conquer a piece of the world. That is the ultimate lesson of Napoleon Hill, that success is not a destination, but a demonstration of mastery over mind, reaction, and self. The Hill Challenge is simply this: no matter what happens, never react. Respond with power. Subscribe for more informative videos. Thanks for watching.